very glad to be here and to present our experience in Brazil. We started with free software implementation in 2003, and today we have a lot of interesting projects, and I will present one of those. I'm a researcher, so I started a project about the Brazilian public software. So my presentation will have three main parts. I will present the concept, which the best person to talk about it is Corinto, who actually elaborated the concept, and then the research that I coordinated, and then the conclusions of it. Well, the public software, it follows the same principles of free software with a slight difference, that it has a public government virtual space that hosts it. So public software is actually seen as a public good. We saw yesterday Jim talking about social good, so it's quite interesting because it has this concept of social good, but it is embedded in the concept of public good. So it tends to be sustainable because we have a government that's behind of everything. We have, it responds to social demands, and it is considered a social right. A social right like people have to have water, people have to have light, people have to have software. So it's a public good, as I said. And today we have a portal that hosts 30 public software, and we have already 50,000 users of all these software. Each software has a community, and the software is managed and is built by the community. So it's a shared knowledge production. And it's also a space where people make their own rules. So it is actually like a social experiment where we can we make the hierarchy a bit flexible, and some researchers call it chaotic because of that, but actually it's the characteristic of it that makes it work. So this concept gathers in a same space, which is the virtual space, demands and supplies. And it is a social production that tends to create new political and economic models. Bankler and some other authors have spoken of that, of social production transforming markets today. And I think the public software is really an initiative that tends to go this way. So in the first phase of the project, we have the launch of the portal, the public software portal. Anyone can go in the site, I can give it afterwards. And then in the portal we offer the solutions, the 30 public software. And then we have the launch of the public market portal, which it's a space for service providers who can work with the solutions. And now we're in the stage where we can develop the relations of the demanding groups, because each group wants different things. So we are trying to manage all of that. It's 50,000 users. It's not such a simple experience. So the model is trying to create all this, how can I say that, this intertwining of initiatives and goals and interests, and how do we manage to gather all these interests in a same project. So the main goal of the research was to analyze social, economic, and political implications of the use of the public software. Which were the consequences of this project for the Brazilian society. And three aspects were highlighted. In the first place, we analyzed the individual in the social network. So what this initiative made, how did it change individual life in Brazil? In the second place, how could we change social and economic aspects of Brazil with that experience? Did it promote social inclusion? Did it promote economic inclusion? How did it did that? Or how does that? And in the third place, how does this experience strengthen the Brazilian state? Because we now have a lot of other international agencies that are interested in the experience, like the United Nations, and we are now launching the international public software. So it's quite an interesting experience for a country like Brazil, who which is a country that tries to promote social inclusion and has a lot of initiatives following that goal. So what we observed in the individual aspect is that people who work in this shared knowledge production, they work apparently for free. No one receives anything to do that, but they really acquire a lot of knowledge with that, and they starts to participate in a network, and that network gives them a certain accumulation of informational capital, which by its turn promotes recognition, visibility in the network, and especially in Brazil, which is a very huge and big country, we can see that there are links from persons that were once far from these networks, far from the center. They lived in the countryside, but they are really good programmers and really those little genius that works with programming, and they can share this network and then can offer services in this portal, in this space, and they actually, we can see social inclusion from that. So it creates job opportunities. They can work in the space. We have they can put their profile in, and people can call them to work. So it generates possibilities of income increase as well. Oh, the same? So we can see the network as well as a means of empowering the individual. They can receive news about FLOSS communities, and it's interesting that one of the most aspects that were pointed, we put a questionnaire online, and 1,130 questionnaires were answered. So we have a quite good confidence interval to make some inferences. And one of the interesting points that people saliented or highlighted was that they were trying to strengthen politically the FLOSS movement in the world. So when asked about the reason of participating in the portal, more than 80% of the users answered that they were there to promote the use and the dissemination of free software in Brazil. So we have a very strong community there that works with free software and that is willing to promote the implementation of free software in every way. So it's always a means of empowering the society, since I talked a bit before about that. The rules of each community are built and decided by the community. They are democratic relations. The network is decentralized. There is no leader, or each community has its leader, but they are not indispensable. We discovered that in the research as well. Not very many people pointed out leaders. So what happens is that each one has the power to decide, and they like to have the power to decide which way they are going. So at the point that we have in the portal people that offer solutions and people who demand these solutions, we have a mini subsystem that is economic, political, cultural, and we have with that a way of promoting economic development in the country. That's a bit of what I told. It promotes inclusion of the ones originally disconnected from networks of production. And it promotes significant reduction of costs. That's the basic idea. It promotes as how can we say that? The overlapping of costs is reduced, because when we buy a solution, then we can use it for the other agencies as well. So it's a space as well to strengthen license, such as GPL and Creative Commons, collaborating for new business models. So here is the international public software. The United Nations started a project this year, and we launched last month the Paraguay public software. Okay. And we're in negotiations with Bolivia and Uruguay for them to start it. We are starting in Latin America. So it's really, public software is really a concept that we want to disseminate. We want people to use it. And I think it's really interesting from all these aspects that I told, especially for countries that are still I would, how do, I don't know how to say that in English. It's not underdeveloped, in development, or something like that. To conclude, the public software empowers individuals, promotes social and economic development, and strengthens the state that adopts it. In the future, we are really wanting to try and take this from a project sphere and try to make public software a state public policy, because it's really important if we have a change of government or something, it's really important that he becomes a national policy and it doesn't get lost in the middle of the political changes in the country. So I guess that's it. Thank you very much. And any questions, we can talk about it later.